Beautiful souls, the wait is over. SoulSpotIntuitive.com is now live, and I've got something really magical just for you. If you've ever wondered how deeply connected your marriage truly is, take my free 24-question quiz. How intuitive is your marriage? In just minutes, you'll uncover your relationship's strengths and the two biggest areas that need a little extra love. This isn't just any quiz, it's a game changer for couples ready to communicate better, trust deeper, and love more intuitively. And for a limited time only, I'm offering free intuitive sessions for those craving even more insight. Please don't miss out on this. I'm really excited about this. Take the quiz now at soulspotintuitive.com/quiz. Your marriage will thank you. If you are interested in a free intuitive session with myself, please email me at amandapott@soulspotintuitive.com and put free session in the subject line. This will be a limited time offer, so don't miss out. And the links are in the show notes. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Intuitive Marriage Podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Pott, and as always, I'm grateful you've joined me here today. I'm an intuitive guide, certified health and life coach, and a marriage mentor, and I'm here to guide you on a journey of self-love and awareness. In this space, we'll explore together how tuning into your intuition can create a deeper, more meaningful connection with yourself and your partner. Today's episode is all about thriving in your second marriage. So whether you're navigating a second marriage, yourself, maybe perhaps are considering blending families, or you're just simply looking for a fresh start in love, then this episode might just be for you. I met my second husband, Barry, on a cold, snowy day in January 2014. Now, I thought it was the 14th. Now my husband seems to think it was the 16th. So we actually just compromised and made our first date day for the 15th of January. So it's been just over 11 years now since we've known each other, and it'll be 6 years, April 27th. So just in just a month, basically. Wow, that's kind of exciting. And it feels like a lifetime of love packed into those years. It really, truly has. We've built a large and growing blended family. And while we faced our fair share of challenges, we have also found a peaceful, fun, and just a harmonious life together. We have found our joy within each other. So in this episode, I'm going to share a little bit about our story, what brought us together, and how we overcame some hardships from our previous relationships, what makes our relationship thrive despite our differences, and just tips for creating some peace, harmony, and just having some overall joy in your second marriage. So grab a cozy drink, or settle in if you're driving, and we'll get started. So I do want to just kind of say, hey, how's everybody doing? It's kind of the end of March. Oh, well, it is the end of March. Actually, today is the last day of March. My youngest turned 26. Holy moly. My biological youngest just on the weekend. So that's crazy. Reality check of my age. And it's so incredible just to see how everybody's growing up and living their own lives. And but this spring, wow, I don't know about you guys or where you are listening from. I know there's a few countries that I'm in, and that's really exciting. So hello out there. We have had such a tease. Mother Nature has been such a tease, and it is not good for my mental health. It will have up to +6, +7, +8 degrees here in Canada. I'm in Manitoba. And then a couple days later, it's, snowing, and then it drops down to -12 with the wind chill. So just as you start kind of feeling ooh, clouds are parting. Like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, it was like, oh my goodness, beautiful. Felt like spring. Everything's trickling. You can hear the water melt, like the snow's melting everywhere. And the last few days now, it's been just very chilly again. So I'm struggling with that. It really changes my energy and the way I feel. So just putting it out there, come on, Mother Nature, stop teasing us and just give us the consistent warm weather. So, anyways, that's my little complaint or whatever. I'm just checking in. How's everybody doing? Let me know if you're in some beautiful hot location and it's wonderful, and please give me something to visualize. Okay, well, let's just kind of go into our story a little bit here. So I'm going to take you back to where it all began. Now, I go deeper into some of the details about how I manifested my husband and our relationship in episode 24. If you're interested, go take a listen. But my husband Barry and I, we met online and we talked for a couple of weeks before we actually met in person. And we spent hours discussing our lives and what we both wanted out of life, etc. So we both had a pretty good understanding of each other. When you spend many hours just talking, you really get to know each other on a different level and what our wants were and what we didn't want, and just kind of get a good feel for what we both wanted in our future. And so we planned to meet for coffee one afternoon. It was cold and it was snowy. And I was on my way actually to go work. I was cleaning homes. I had a company. And so I didn't have any makeup on. I had my hair up in a ponytail. I did not doll up for this coffee whatsoever, which in the past I would have done that. And at this point, I was like, you know what? This guy's going to just like me for just my everyday. I got to go to work. So we met at a local restaurant on January 14th or 16th. So we're sticking with the 15th. And basically, we were just two souls carrying the weight of hardships from, previous marriages, right? And both of us had been through some pain, some losses, and a lot of lessons that ultimately shaped us to who we are now, like who we were even when we met. So that day in January, it was snowy and it was cold, and we sat across from each other in our local restaurant. We were drinking coffee, and just something clicked. Despite our differences, we complimented each other in the most beautiful ways. And we realized how similar that we actually are and how we wanted the same things in life. And we both knew what we wanted. We both knew what we expected moving forward in what we hoped, in the new relationship as it grows. And we also knew that we wouldn't settle for in a relationship, the things we did not want, that we would not tolerate again. And over time, and a lot of talking, and spending time together, we would date, once a week for a long time because we both had kids living with us. And over time, we just discovered our shared passions. We did have quite a few differences, but we also discovered that we had a lot of shared passions. It took a few years, but like our love for singing, we both love karaoke and just getting out there and singing. Whether that turns into anything other than what we do, we just have a big passion for it. And that led to many date nights and still does at the karaoke clubs. Those nights have become our time for fun. Now that we are empty nesters, when we moved in together, we have 5 children with us. So now we are empty nesters, and it's a chance for us to socialize, and it raises our vibration, and we feel really great. Instead of just sitting on the couch watching TV doing nothing, we can be silly. We connect with each other. We create memories together. We have 8 children between us, and when we did move in together, as I said, we had 5 children. Our family was our priority. And so 5 of those kids were still living with us. So, like, as empty nesters now, we have built our life centered on peace, on joy, and on family. And whether we're at the cabin enjoying game nights with our kids, grandkids, our friends, or just simply relaxing with our dog Sylvie and just the two of us, our life honestly feels like a sanctuary. And we have both had times in our lives where it was not even close. It was chaotic. It was frantic. It was a lot of hurt feelings. It was a lot of suppressed feelings. It was a lot of anger, doubt. We lived with a lot of high anxiety, both of us, and self-esteem issues. So now we have carved out this beautiful, beautiful life for ourselves that it just absolutely feels like a sanctuary no matter what situation we are in, whether it is just the two of us or whether we have people that we absolutely love and care about around us. So, I mean, we did not have this in our first marriages, obviously. But let me be clear, like, this did not happen by accident. I do believe that there's connections and people just are automatically it just works. It just clicks. But it does take work. It took a lot of intentional inner work for the two of us before we even met. It takes a lot of communication, a lot of self-love, and a deep, deep commitment to nurturing each other. As well as, we discuss and we plan our goals. We want to know what are our common goals, what are our personal goals, and how can we help each other, accomplish our goals together, whether we're doing something together or whether it's an individual goal. We both know what we want in our marriage. We are a partnership, and we communicate our expectations, and we keep each other accountable. And that's not always easy, but it works. And it's absolutely necessary to create that peace, that harmony in the marriage. Now, here's a few tips for finding your peace in your second marriage. Here's some practical and intuitive tips for cultivating harmony and bliss in your second marriage. So number 1 is heal before you build. Okay? Work on yourself. Take the time to heal from the pain of your previous relationships. Old wounds can resurface in new relationships if they are left unaddressed. And they still do come up, but you have a better way of addressing them because you both have an understanding that both partners are coming from situations that there may be triggers. So, but just take the time for yourself. Get the therapy that you need. Therapy, journaling, or heart-to-heart conversations with each other can really help to clear the air. Like I said, triggers from the past can really go sideways if your partner doesn't have an understanding and you're not open to communicate some of these situations that may create issues in your current marriage. So, embrace your differences. Just embrace your differences. We're all different. We're all quirky. We're all weird. We all have our own thing. My husband and I, we're so similar in so many ways. People used to say, like, oh, you are like the male version of her, and she's like the female version of you. And but we also do, which is fantastic. We're the same age. We're a couple of weeks apart, so we grew up with a lot of the same history and things, right? He was raised by his grandparents. I was raised, my parents were older, so we have a lot of the similarities growing up. But some of our differences as people, we don't focus on them as like a challenge. we see them as opportunities to grow and to complement each other. So we know what our strengths are and what each other's strengths are. And so we embrace those and help each other along when we, when, how do I put this? Like when we're complementing each other, we just kind of, I use his strength and he'll use my strength. And that's kind of, he'll show me different ways of thinking and I do the same for him. Maybe it's have a little more understanding or a little more patience because I'm more patient than he is. And then he'll show me how to maybe be more assertive because maybe I was more passive. So we help each other out and complement each other in different ways. Now prioritize your peace over perfection. This is really tough for both of us because we both kind of are perfectionists. But the second marriage, it's not about creating that picture perfect life where maybe the first marriage you have this idea that the white picket fence and the marriage and all the things, 2.5 kids and stuff, right? Where the second marriage, it's more about building a sanctuary, letting go of the need to be perfect and just focus on what brings you joy and peace in your relationship. So, maybe it's not having the most perfect looking home, exterior things, or whatever your perception of perfection, right? The house has to be perfect and clean and neat. And if we're talking about that kind of idea, or we have to look like we're the perfect couple and do all the perfect things or the things that most people think we should do. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes your heart sing. It's what do you enjoy together? What are your goals as a couple? What do you want in this marriage? What don't you want in this marriage? Why did you fall in love? What inspired you about your spouse when you first fell in love? What are those things that you want to prioritize over thinking that, we look like the perfect couple or we have to portray as like the perfect couple or, when honestly, sometimes in your first marriage, you want to portray that because maybe you grew up in a family where divorce is taboo or it's just not a thing. And, you don't ever really get married I don't think anybody gets married to get divorced. And so then you kind of hold it together by trying to portray as perfect, but it's just crumbling inside. Where now you don't really care what it looks like on the outside because the foundation of it is so incredible that it just automatically looks amazing from the outside. It's not a fake portrayal of it, I guess, is what I'm kind of saying. So just prioritize your peace over trying to have like a perfect looking marriage, I guess, right? And now make time for connection. You absolutely need to prioritize making time for your spouse so that you can connect. Date nights are non-negotiable for us. We don't necessarily have completely set in stone times. We do have certain karaoke nights that we leave open to go and enjoy. And then sometimes things are spontaneous, and then we do have other things that get planned on the side. But we always make sure, and sometimes our date nights are just staying home and singing together at home. So whether it's, karaoke or having a quiet evening at the cabin, maybe we've decided to just have a game night. We're just playing a game all night, or we're going to enjoy a fire with some music. Maybe we're going to have a movie outside. Prioritizing our time together strengthens our bond. It will strengthen your bond. And I don't mean let's just sit in the living room and be on our phones while we have a movie playing. I mean, hey, we do that as well. I'm not against that. But make time to physically check in with each other, emotionally check in with each other. Ask your spouse, What's going on? What you got going on? How can I help? How can I be there? How are you feeling? What makes you happy in this relationship? What would you like to see change? Just, and that happens naturally when you're planning a date night. Sometimes it's just fun pillow talk. Sometimes, you realize that you are really having a lot of fun together, and it just helps you to almost fall in love with your partner again, because it's not just all about business and kids and bills and stress and work. Life has to be fun together. So please, make check-in time non-negotiable. And blend with love. Blending your families together is not always easy. Not at all. I've had two other situations where I've blended, been in a blended family situation, and they're not easy. You have to be patient. You need to be open and very understanding, and you need to care for them and understand that that person comes as a package deal. If you love them, you love their kids. That's just the way it is. It's you are open to understanding them. Now, I do understand as you get together, as you get older, often your children are older. We did have 3 of our children were adults and had moved out already. And so, yes, as adults, you may have different situations with your spouse's children and not just, automatically accept them. And they are definitely not automatically going to always accept you. But if you are patient and you are open and understanding, and that also comes from the individual person and parent and how you are with your children when you are going into a second marriage, right? And how you communicate that with your kids. So communication is just important all around. But as you have an understanding and you start to create new traditions with each other and relationships, I do actually have an episode on blended families, episode 18. Go check that out as well if you like. But you need to be able to lead with love and be very understanding, because there's a lot involved. There's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of, expectations or unknowing, and it can be really scary. So just go into it open, patient, understanding, and both be on the same page with it. And also communicate with compassion, share your feelings, your needs, and dreams openly, but with kindness. And be vulnerable. Good communication is the foundation of peace. That is the biggest struggle that I find with couples, is that the communication aspect of it, they either don't know how to communicate or how to start to communicate or what kind of communication. Communicate with passion and kindness and just be open. And the more open and vulnerable you are, your partner will feel, that there's a safe space to share and not feel judged. You'll have a much better understanding of each other, and sometimes why hurtful things come up or misunderstandings come up because triggers happen from past situations and we haven't discussed them, so your partner doesn't know. And then, of course, my favorite, lean into intuition. So always trust your inner voice. Intuition can guide you in navigating tough decisions, handling family dynamics, and deepening your connection with your partner. So understanding each other, your energy, your body language, your patterns, all of that play into understanding and picking up on understanding more of your own intuition, and then of course being more intuitive in your marriage with your partner. And why does peace matter? We are at an age now, we're both 53, soon to be 54 in the summer. In our first marriages, many of us have experienced chaos or conflict, raising children, money issues, substance abuse, maybe you've been forced to marry because you're younger and you're listening to your parents. There's a lot of pressures going on. Maybe there's been some physical or emotional abuse. And your second marriage, if you decide to remarry, some people just decide to not and then just be together, common law, and I consider those their spouses and they're married as well. They just don't have the paper, right? But we chose to get married. I wanted to take my husband's last name because it's so cool. But it was important. It was traditional. It was just important to us. Where was I going with this? All right. So once you do decide and you want to get married again, it's an opportunity to create something different for yourself and your partner. A relationship that feels like a sanctuary. It's peaceful. It doesn't mean the absence of challenges. It doesn't mean the absence of disagreements or having different opinions. It means finding ways to navigate through those together with grace and understanding and love. So here's my mentoring insight for you. A peaceful marriage starts with peaceful individuals. So take time to nurture your sense of calm and clarity through self-care, mindfulness, and intuition. When you bring your best self to your marriage, you set the tone for harmony and joy. So finding peace in a second marriage is a journey, but it's worth taking. It's about letting go of past pain, embracing the present, and intentionally building a future that feels like home, and ultimately your version of a fairy tale marriage, the happily ever after, so to speak. Whatever your vision is, what your desire is for your marriage. Thank you so much for spending the time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, please do share it with someone who might benefit from these insights. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It does help me reach more beautiful souls like yourself. And I will announce again, you probably heard it in the beginning, but my website is live and so is my free quiz. If you want to find out how intuitive is your marriage, please go check it out. It's completely free. There's no click things that you have to pay. You'll get results instantly. You'll just end up signing up on my email, and eventually I will have some blogs or some newsletters sent out to you. But right now, that's all you're going to get. Thank you so much. I want to see some of your results from these quizzes, and tell me if it makes sense and if you're enjoying it. So until next time, nurture your relationship, trust your intuition, and always choose love and peace. Bye for now.